valuable Lincoln cents, Indian head pennies, and wheat pennies ever discovered, and show you what to look for before you spend your next coin. Let's get started.
1944 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark may seem like an ordinary old coin, especially if it has turned a dark black color and appears dirty from decades of circulation. Many people would simply overlook it or spend it without a second thought. However, experienced collectors know that every 1944 Lincoln wheat cent deserves a closer look because this year is surrounded by one of the most famous stories in American numismatic history. While most examples are common, certain varieties, striking characteristics, and authentic mint errors have sold for remarkable prices at major auctions, making this date one of the most searched Lincoln cents in the hobby. The year 1944 marked an important period during World War II. America was still deeply involved in the war effort,
and the United States Mint had recently completed one of the most unusual chapters in coin production. In 1943, Lincoln cents were struck on zinc-coated steel planchets to save copper for military equipment. By 1944, the mint returned to using a copper-based alloy, much of which came from recycled wartime shell casings. Because of this change, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny became known as the first regular copper cent after the famous steel cent experiment. That historical connection alone makes the coin especially popular among collectors. The Philadelphia Mint produced these coins without placing a mint mark below the date. That means a genuine Philadelphia issue will show only the date 1944 beneath Abraham Lincoln's portrait, with no letter beneath it. This simple detail often creates confusion for new collectors who assume a missing mint mark is an error. In reality, no mint mark is completely normal for Philadelphia coins struck during that period. The obverse features Victor David Brenner's timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his head appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, while the date 1944 sits to the right. Even in circulated fine condition, Lincoln's profile remains clearly recognizable, although years of handling naturally soften the highest points of the design. The hair above the ear may appear worn, the cheek slightly smoother, and the coat details less defined, but the portrait still carries the classic appearance collectors admire. Turning the coin over reveals the famous wheat ears reverse that defined the Lincoln cent for nearly 50 years. Two graceful wheat stalks frame the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum curves across the top. The simple yet elegant design symbolizes America's agricultural heritage and remains one of the most beloved reverse designs ever placed on a United States coin. One characteristic that often catches attention is the coin's dark appearance. After more than 80 years, many copper cents have developed deep brown, chocolate, or nearly black surfaces through natural oxidation. Dirt, moisture, oils from human hands, and environmental exposure can gradually transform the original reddish color into a dark patina. While some collectors prefer bright red examples, others appreciate naturally toned black or dark brown coins because they reflect decades of genuine circulation. Original surfaces are usually more desirable than coins that have been aggressively cleaned in an attempt to restore their shine. Collectors always advise against cleaning old coins. A black or dirty appearance may not look impressive to someone unfamiliar with coin collecting, but removing that natural surface can permanently reduce collector value. Professional grading services generally prefer original, untouched surfaces, even when the coin shows honest circulation wear. The 1944 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat cent had a mintage exceeding 1 billion pieces, making it one of the highest production wheat cents ever issued. Despite that enormous number, collector demand remains consistently strong because nearly every Lincoln cent collection includes this important wartime issue. Large mintages do not eliminate collector interest when a coin carries significant historical importance. Many collectors carefully inspect every 1944 cent because of the possibility of discovering authentic mint errors. The most famous is the extremely rare 1944 steel cent, created when leftover steel planchets from 1943 accidentally entered the presses. Genuine examples are among the greatest rarities in American coin collecting and have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at major auctions. However, these are extraordinarily rare, and authentication by professional grading services is absolutely essential. Other genuine mint-made varieties can include die cracks, die chips, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, lamination errors, and doubled dies. These production errors occurred during the manufacturing process and can make a coin substantially more desirable. Collectors examine the lettering, date, and design elements under magnification, searching for unusual characteristics that distinguish one coin from millions of ordinary examples. The large date appearance is another feature sometimes discussed among collectors. Although the 1944 Lincoln cent is not officially recognized for a major large date variety comparable to certain other dates in the series, differences caused by die wear and striking quality may make the numerals appear slightly heavier or sharper on some examples. Enthusiasts enjoy comparing these details, especially when building specialized collections focused on die varieties. Condition always plays an important role in determining value. A fine circulated example still retains solid design details while showing moderate wear from years of use. Major lettering remains bold and readable. Lincoln's outline is complete, and the wheat ears continue to display much of their original structure. Such coins appeal to collectors who appreciate affordable historic pieces with authentic circulation history. Today's collector market values vary considerably depending on originality, eye appeal, grading, and any verified mint-made varieties. A typical circulated 1944 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat cent in fine condition often begins around $12, making it an affordable addition to many collections. Examples with attractive original surfaces, better detail, or interesting die characteristics may command higher prices, while authenticated mint error examples can become dramatically more valuable. Professional grading companies provide important protection for buyers and sellers alike. Certification confirms authenticity, assigns an official grade, and notes significant mint errors when present. Certified coins generally inspire greater confidence during auctions because collectors know the coin has been carefully examined by experts. Collector demand for the 1944 wheat cent remains remarkably steady because it connects directly to one of the most memorable periods in American history. Every coin serves as a reminder of wartime production, changing mint materials, and the resilience of the nation during the 1940s. That historical connection gives the coin lasting appeal beyond its modest face value. Many experienced collectors recommend examining every 1944 Lincoln cent before spending it. Even though most examples are common, the possibility of discovering an unusual die variety or an authentic mint error keeps the excitement alive. That sense of possibility is one of the reasons Lincoln wheat cents continue attracting new collectors generation after generation. As the decades pass, original examples become increasingly appreciated for their historical authenticity. Whether the coin displays a rich brown surface, a nearly black natural patina, or signs of honest circulation from countless daily transactions, it represents a genuine piece of American history. A simple 1-cent coin that once purchased everyday necessities now tells the story of wartime America, skilled craftsmanship at the United States Mint, and the enduring passion of collectors who continue searching for hidden treasures among ordinary-looking pennies to use. Next up, the fascinating 1900 United States Indian Head 1 cent, a coin that represents the closing years of one of America's most beloved small cent designs. While most examples are common, certain outstanding pieces, dramatic error varieties, and exceptionally preserved coins have attracted impressive attention whenever they appear at major auctions. If you have an old Indian head cent tucked away in a collection, now is the perfect time to take a closer look, because even a heavily circulated example tells an important story about American history. The Indian head cent had already been circulating for more than 40 years by the time the year 1900 arrived. Americans used these coins every day to buy food, newspapers, train tickets, and countless household necessities. Each coin passed through hundreds of hands, quietly witnessing the rapid growth of the United States during the late 19th century. Railroads connected cities, factories expanded production, and millions of people carried Indian head cents in their pockets. Every worn coin surviving today is a small piece of that remarkable history. The obverse features the famous portrait designed by James Barton Longacre. Although many people believe the portrait represents a Native American woman, it is actually Lady Liberty wearing a traditional feathered headdress. Around the rim appears the word Liberty, incorporated into the headband, while the date, 1900, is displayed below the portrait. Collectors often examine every detail of this design, especially the letters in Liberty. On well-preserved coins, every letter should remain visible. As circulation increases, these letters gradually disappear, making them one of the first grading points professionals inspect. The reverse displays a simple yet elegant wreath surrounding the denomination 1 cent. At the top of the wreath appears a Union shield, symbolizing national unity after the Civil War. The entire design is balanced beautifully, giving the coin a timeless appearance that has made it a favorite among collectors for generations. Even today, many hobbyists consider the Indian head cent one of the most attractive small coins ever produced by the United States Mint. One interesting fact about the 1900 Indian head cent is that it carries no mint mark. Every regular circulation strike was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and during this period, Philadelphia did not place mint marks on 1 cent coins. New collectors sometimes believe a missing mint mark indicates a valuable error, but in this case, the absence of a mint mark is completely normal and historically correct. During 1900, the Philadelphia Mint struck more than 66 million Indian head cents. That sounds like an enormous number, and it certainly was. However, millions of those coins entered daily circulation immediately and experienced years of heavy use. Countless examples were eventually lost, melted, damaged, or discarded. Others developed corrosion after being buried in the ground or stored in damp environments for decades. As a result, attractive original examples are becoming increasingly difficult to locate. Many collectors are surprised to learn that a rusty-looking or dark brown Indian head cent is not automatically worthless. Copper changes color naturally over time. Depending on storage conditions, a coin may develop rich chocolate brown surfaces, deep mahogany shades, or nearly black toning. Natural aging often appeals to collectors because it shows the coin has not been harshly cleaned. In contrast, an improperly cleaned coin may appear unnaturally bright while actually losing collector value. Imagine discovering a 1900 Indian head cent inside an old wooden box inherited from a grandparent. The coin may look dirty and heavily worn, yet beneath that aged appearance could be original surfaces untouched for decades. Experienced collectors frequently prefer honest wear over artificial polishing because originality is one of the most respected qualities in numismatics. Condition remains one of the biggest factors influencing value. A heavily circulated example with significant wear generally sells for around $600,000, especially if the surfaces remain problem-free and the date is clear. Better preserved examples showing stronger details often command $569,000 coins graded extremely fine or about uncirculated may bring several $100s depending on eye appeal. High-grade mint state examples certified by professional grading services can realize several $1,000s at auction, especially those displaying full original mint luster and exceptional strike quality. Collectors also pay close attention to color designations assigned by grading companies. Copper coins are frequently classified as brown, red-brown, or red. Brown coins have naturally toned over time, while red examples retain much of their original mint color and are significantly scarcer after more than a century. Because so few 1900 Indian head cents survived with brilliant original red surfaces, these coins often achieve remarkable auction prices. Another fascinating aspect involves die varieties. During the manufacturing process, steel dies occasionally developed imperfections or received slight differences during preparation. These variations created collectible die varieties that specialists eagerly search for today. Although not every variety commands enormous premiums, certain doubled design elements, repunched digits, or unusual die characteristics attract considerable interest within the collecting community. Error coins represent another exciting area of the hobby. Genuine mint errors occur during production rather than after a coin leaves the mint. Examples include off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, die cuds, and dramatic strike-through errors. Because authentic mint errors are much scarcer than ordinary circulation coins, collectors often pay substantial premiums when certified examples appear for sale. It is equally important to distinguish true mint errors from ordinary damage. Rust, scratches, dents, corrosion, environmental exposure, or post-mint alterations do not create valuable errors. Many online listings incorrectly advertise damaged coins as rare mint mistakes. Knowledgeable collectors always rely on careful examination and, when necessary, professional authentication before paying premium prices. One feature experts always inspect is the word "Liberty" on the headband. Even on circulated coins, partial letters can significantly influence grading. Strong feather details, clear diamonds in the ribbon, and defined curls within Liberty's hair also contribute to higher grades. On the reverse, collectors examine the wreath leaves, oak acorns, ribbon details, and the sharpness of the Union shield above 1 cent. Every tiny design element helps determine the coin's overall quality. Auction houses regularly emphasize originality when describing desirable Indian head cents. A coin that has spent decades quietly resting inside an old collection often retains surfaces that experienced buyers immediately recognize. Natural toning, even if dark or uneven, frequently inspires greater confidence than surfaces showing evidence of harsh cleaning or polishing. As a result, two coins with similar wear may sell for dramatically different prices simply because one remains original while the other has been improperly cleaned. The popularity of Indian head cents extends far beyond the United States. Collectors around the world appreciate their classic American design, historical significance, and connection to a transformative period in U.S. history. Many international buyers actively compete for premium certified examples, adding additional demand whenever exceptional coins reach the auction market. Every surviving 1900 Indian head cent has traveled an incredible journey through time. It may have passed through the hands of shopkeepers, railroad workers, farmers, teachers, soldiers, and families more than a century ago. That remarkable history is one reason collectors continue searching for these coins today, proving that even a small copper cent can preserve an unforgettable piece of America's past. Is the 1973 Abraham Lincoln 1 cent without a mint mark. While millions were produced for circulation, collectors know that condition, striking quality, unusual mint errors, and strong eye appeal can dramatically influence value. That is why every old penny deserves a closer look before it disappears into circulation forever. The 1973 Lincoln cent without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During this period, Philadelphia cents did not carry a mint mark, making the absence of a mint mark completely normal. Even though these coins were produced in very large numbers, they remain popular because they represent an important chapter in the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909. Many collectors enjoy building complete date and mint collections, and the 1973 issue is an essential part of that journey. Finding one today is not difficult. They still appear in old coin jars, estate collections, inherited albums, and occasionally even in pocket change. Most examples, however, have spent decades in circulation. They have been carried in wallets, dropped on sidewalks, exposed to moisture, stored in basements, and forgotten inside old containers. Because of this, many surviving coins display scratches, discoloration, dark toning, stains, dirt, and even surface corrosion. A rusty-looking appearance is often caused by environmental damage rather than actual rust, since the coin is made primarily of copper. Collectors pay close attention to whether the surfaces are naturally aged or permanently damaged. The obverse of the coin features Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Since its introduction in 1909, this portrait has become one of the most recognizable coin designs in American history. Lincoln faces to the right with the word "Liberty" positioned on the left side of the portrait. The date 1973 appears on the right side, while the national motto "In God We Trust" curves along the top edge. Although the design remained unchanged for decades, collectors often inspect each detail carefully. A sharply struck beard, crisp hairlines, and bold lettering can make one example noticeably more attractive than another. Turning the coin over reveals the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse designed by Frank Gasparo. The memorial occupies the center of the coin, with United States of America around the upper edge and 1 cent boldly displayed beneath the building. The motto, E Pluribus Unum, appears above the memorial. One fascinating detail is that Lincoln's tiny statue can actually be seen between the columns under magnification. This miniature feature has impressed collectors for generations because it demonstrates the remarkable craftsmanship involved in producing even a humble 1-cent coin. The Philadelphia Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents during the early 1970s to satisfy the country's demand for small change. Because production numbers were so high, ordinary circulated examples are generally worth only face value or a small premium. This reality surprises many people who hear sensational stories claiming that every old penny is worth thousands or even millions of dollars. Experienced collectors understand that rarity comes from exceptional preservation, authenticated mint errors, or other unusual characteristics rather than simply from age alone. Condition plays an enormous role in determining market value. A heavily circulated example with dark surfaces, worn lettering, and obvious environmental damage might sell for around 10 cents to $1 if someone simply wants a date filler. A cleaner circulated example with attractive brown color could bring a few dollars. Coins that retain original mint luster and have never entered circulation are considerably more desirable. Certified mint state examples with strong eye appeal may sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars depending on their grade and current market demand. Collectors also search carefully for legitimate mint errors. Off-center strikes are among the most popular because part of the design is missing while the date remains visible. Broad strikes occur when the retaining collar fails, allowing the coin to spread beyond its normal diameter. Die cracks can produce raised lines across the surface, while die breaks sometimes create unusual raised areas known as cuds. Double strikes, clipped planchets, and dramatic misalignments are all genuine mint-made errors that often command substantial premiums when authenticated. Another variety collectors hope to discover is a doubled die. On a true doubled die, parts of the lettering or date appear doubled because of the way the die itself was manufactured. Genuine doubled dies differ from common machine doubling, which usually carries little additional value. Specialists often use magnification to inspect the words "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date for signs of true hub doubling. Authentication by a respected grading service is important because many forms of damage can resemble doubling to an inexperienced eye. Surface quality is another factor that separates average coins from premium examples. Collectors prefer coins with minimal contact marks, original color, and pleasing overall appearance. Even a common date can become highly desirable if it survives in exceptional condition after decades of storage. Professional grading companies evaluate strike quality, luster, preservation, and eye appeal before assigning an official grade. That grade often has a significant impact on market value because buyers have greater confidence in independently certified coins. Many people mistake post-mint damage for valuable errors. Scratches caused by machinery, dents from everyday use, harsh cleaning, chemical exposure, and environmental corrosion generally reduce value instead of increasing it. A dirty or dark coin may appear unusual, but experienced collectors know that originality is far more important than artificial appearance. Cleaning a coin in hopes of making it look brighter often removes the natural surface and lowers its desirability. Auction records demonstrate how dramatically quality influences price. A typical circulated 1973 Philadelphia cent without a mint mark often sells for less than $1. Attractive uncirculated examples may reach values between $10 and $50 depending on grade. Exceptionally preserved certified pieces can sell for $78,000, while dramatic authenticated mint error examples occasionally realize much stronger prices because of their rarity and collector demand. Every sale depends on the specific characteristics of the individual coin rather than the date alone. If you own a 1973 Lincoln cent, start by examining the date, the lettering, and both sides under good lighting. Look for signs of unusual striking errors instead of ordinary wear. Compare the coin with photographs of authenticated examples, and if you believe you have discovered something significant, consider submitting it to a respected third-party grading service. Professional authentication provides confidence for both collectors and potential buyers. The popularity of Lincoln cents continues to grow because they are affordable, historically important, and enjoyable to search. Many collectors began their hobby by looking through pocket change, hoping to discover a hidden treasure among ordinary coins. That excitement still exists today. Even though most 1973 cents are common, every search teaches valuable lessons about minting, grading, and the fascinating history of American coinage. The realistic market value for a normal circulated 1973 Lincoln cent without a mint mark is often around $100,000 depending on its condition and buyer interest. However, authenticated mint errors or exceptionally high-grade certified examples can command significantly higher prices in specialized auctions. Knowing the difference between a common circulation coin and a genuinely collectible example is what separates experienced collectors from casual observers, and that knowledge is often the greatest treasure of all. Now let's turn our attention to another classic Lincoln cent that has captured the interest of collectors for generations: the 1934 Abraham Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark. At first glance, it may look like nothing more than an old brown penny that has spent decades in circulation. Many examples are found with worn details, faded lettering, and dark surfaces from years of handling. Yet this historic coin represents an important period in American history, and certain examples can attract impressive attention from collectors, especially when they are well-preserved or display genuine mint-made errors. The 1934 Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. During this era, Philadelphia cents normally carried no mint mark, so the absence of a mint mark is exactly what collectors expect to see. The coin was struck during the Great Depression, a time when millions of Americans struggled financially. Although these cents were made in large numbers to support everyday commerce, they have survived as small reminders of one of the most challenging periods in United States history. Imagine this coin changing hands in 1934. It may have been used to buy a loaf of bread, a newspaper, or a cup of coffee. A single penny had much greater purchasing power than it does today. Every scratch and every worn detail tells a story of decades spent moving from one pocket to another. That rich history is one reason why Lincoln wheat cents continue to fascinate collectors around the world. The obverse features Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Above the portrait appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." The word liberty is positioned to the left, while the date 1934 appears on the right. Even on circulated examples, collectors carefully inspect the strength of Lincoln's beard, hair, bow tie, and coat, because these features help determine the amount of wear the coin has experienced over the years. The reverse displays the classic wheat cent design. Two wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum across the top. This reverse design remained in production until 1958 and has become one of the most beloved coin designs in American numismatic history. Many collectors say the wheat ears give the coin a timeless appearance that instantly distinguishes it from modern Lincoln cents. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of 1934 Lincoln wheat cents. Because the mintage was substantial, the date itself is not considered rare. However, finding attractive original examples becomes increasingly difficult because so many coins circulated heavily for decades. Coins that escaped heavy wear are much more desirable than those with flattened details or damaged surfaces. Most surviving examples are found in circulated condition. These coins usually show moderate to heavy wear, dark brown coloring, and numerous contact marks. While they remain popular with beginning collectors because they are affordable, experienced numismatists often search for examples with strong original detail, natural color, and minimal environmental damage. Even a common date wheat cent becomes more desirable when it has pleasing eye appeal. Collectors also search for genuine mint errors on 1934 Lincoln wheat cents. Off-center strikes are among the most dramatic because part of the design is missing, while enough of the date remains visible to identify the coin. Die cracks, die breaks, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and retained cuds are all legitimate mint-made errors that can command premiums over ordinary examples. Authentication is extremely important because post-mint damage is frequently mistaken for valuable errors. Another feature that attracts attention is repunched mint marks on branch mint coins, although the Philadelphia issue has no mint mark. Instead, collectors focus on die varieties, doubled die characteristics, and unusual striking anomalies. Under magnification, specialists inspect the date and lettering for signs of true hub doubling rather than machine doubling, which generally adds little value. Condition remains the single most important factor affecting value. A heavily worn 1934 Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark commonly sells for around $100,000 or less, depending on its appearance and the current market. Coins with stronger detail and attractive natural surfaces may bring higher prices. Certified mint. State examples with original red color are considerably scarcer because very few survived without entering circulation. Professional grading services evaluate every important characteristic, including strike quality, luster, preservation, eye appeal, and originality. A certified high-grade example often attracts much stronger bidding than a raw coin because buyers have confidence in the assigned grade. Some premium mint state examples have realized $200,000s at auction, while exceptional error coins with strong collector demand can sell for significantly more. Each auction result depends on the specific coin rather than the date alone. One mistake many beginners make is cleaning old wheat cents. They believe removing dirt or dark toning will increase value, but the opposite is usually true. Harsh cleaning leaves fine scratches and removes the natural surface that collectors appreciate. Even if a coin appears dull, leaving it in its original state is almost always the better decision. Collector interest in Lincoln wheat cents continues to grow because they combine history, affordability, and the excitement of discovery. Many enthusiasts enjoy searching inherited collections, estate sales, bankrolls, and antique shops in hopes of finding overlooked treasures. Although most 1934 Philadelphia cents are common, the possibility of discovering an exceptional grade or authenticated mint error keeps collectors searching year after year. If you own a 1934 Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark, examine it carefully under bright light. Look for unusual striking characteristics, original surfaces, and strong remaining detail. Compare your coin with certified examples, and if it appears to have a genuine mint error or unusually high quality, professional authentication may be worthwhile before offering it for sale. The 1934 Lincoln wheat cent reminds us that every old coin carries a story far beyond its face value. It survived the Great Depression, witnessed generations of American history, and continues to connect modern collectors with the past. While the average circulated example has a modest value of around 57,000, exceptional certified coins and authenticated mint error examples can command far higher prices in today's collector market. For that reason, every old wheat cent deserves a careful inspection before being overlooked, because sometimes the smallest details make the biggest difference. Next up, the 1937 Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark is one of those coins that reminds us how history and collecting can come together in a single small piece of copper. While most examples are common, certain pieces with exceptional preservation, attractive color, or genuine mint errors have attracted strong interest from collectors, and that is why this coin continues to be studied and collected nearly 90 years after it was struck. The 1937 Lincoln wheat cent was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not place a mint mark on cents during that era. Millions of Americans handled these coins during one of the most important decades in United States history. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression, families carefully saved every penny they earned, and these cents passed from one hand to another in grocery stores, movie theaters, restaurants, and local businesses across the nation. Every scratch, every mark, and every bit of wear tells part of that long journey through American history. When collectors examine a circulated example in fine condition, they first look at the portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Even after years of circulation, the outline of Lincoln's profile should remain clear. His forehead, nose, lips, and chin should still be recognizable, although much of the finer detail in the hair will have worn smooth. On the reverse, the famous wheat ears should remain visible, even if some of the finer grain lines have faded from decades of handling. One feature that often attracts attention is a strong strike. Some 1937 cents display sharper lettering and better detail than others because of differences in striking pressure during production. A well-struck example can appear much more attractive than another coin with the same amount of wear. Collectors appreciate coins that show bold lettering in Liberty, a crisp date, and a strong appearance of In God We Trust. Many new collectors hear the phrase large date and assume every bold-looking date is a rare variety. In reality, the 1937 Lincoln wheat cent is not recognized as having a major large date and small date variety like some other U.S. coins. Instead, collectors focus on overall strike quality, authentic mint errors, eye appeal, and preservation. Understanding this distinction helps buyers avoid paying inflated prices for ordinary coins advertised with misleading descriptions. One of the biggest reasons this coin remains popular is its connection to the Lincoln wheat cent series, which began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It became the first regular United States circulating coin to feature the portrait of a real historical figure instead of the symbolic image of liberty. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin changed American coinage forever and remains one of the most beloved designs in numismatic history. The Philadelphia Mint produced well over 300 million Lincoln cents in 1937. Such a large mintage means that ordinary circulated examples are still relatively available today. However, availability should never be confused with desirability. Millions may have been struck, but many were heavily worn, damaged, cleaned, corroded, or lost over the decades. Collectors always seek the nicest surviving examples they can afford. Another factor influencing value is original surface quality. A coin that has never been harshly cleaned often commands stronger prices than one with polished or altered surfaces. Experienced collectors prefer natural color and honest wear over artificial brightness. Even a dusty brown coin with untouched surfaces may be more desirable than a shiny coin that has been improperly cleaned. Collectors also search carefully for genuine mint errors. Although rare, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, retained cuds, broad strikes, and dramatic die breaks can significantly increase collector demand. Each genuine mint error represents something unusual that occurred during the manufacturing process, making those pieces much scarcer than normal circulation strikes. Die cracks are especially interesting because they show where the coin die began to fracture after striking thousands of planchets. These raised lines on the coin become permanent evidence of the stress placed upon the dies during production. Some collectors specialize entirely in these unusual varieties because no two major die breaks look exactly alike. Another popular collectible is the off-center strike. If the blank planchet was not perfectly aligned during striking, part of the design may be missing while the date remains visible. Coins showing dramatic off-center strikes with a readable date often sell for substantial premiums because they are both visually impressive and unquestionably genuine mint errors. Double strikes also attract attention. In these cases, the coin received more than one strike from the dies, creating overlapping images that immediately stand out. Dramatic examples are scarce and can command hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the severity of the error and overall preservation. Some collectors spend years searching through rolls hoping to discover an overlooked error coin. Although such finds are uncommon today, discoveries still happen, proving that patience remains one of the greatest tools in coin collecting. Condition continues to be one of the most important factors affecting market value. A heavily worn example may trade for only a modest premium over face value, while an attractive fine or very fine coin with pleasing original surfaces can bring around $89,000 in today's collector market. Better extremely fine examples often sell for more, and certified mint state coins with outstanding eye appeal can reach $90,000 or higher. Genuine error varieties or exceptional certified pieces can command significantly stronger auction prices depending on their rarity and demand. Professional grading services play an important role in today's market. Authentication and grading by respected companies provide confidence to buyers and sellers alike. Certification confirms that the coin is genuine and assigns a grade based on its preservation, helping establish fair market value. Collectors also examine the coin's color. Lincoln cents are commonly classified as brown, red-brown, or red. Original red examples are much scarcer because copper naturally darkens over time. Since your example is described as circulated and dusty, it would typically fall into the brown category, which is perfectly normal for a coin that has circulated for many decades. Another fascinating aspect of collecting is provenance. Coins that can be traced to famous collections or historic auctions sometimes generate additional excitement among bidders. While provenance does not change the coin itself, it can add another layer of historical interest that appeals to advanced collectors. Even after nearly a century, the 1937 Lincoln wheat cent continues to inspire new generations of collectors. It is affordable enough for beginners while still offering enough varieties, errors, grading challenges, and historical significance to keep experienced numismatists interested. Every surviving example serves as a tangible reminder of American history, making it much more than just a 1-cent coin. The 1909 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is one of those coins that continues to attract attention from collectors across the United States. While millions were produced, finding an attractive example with strong details and original surfaces is becoming more difficult every year. That is exactly why this historic 1-cent coin remains one of the most collected coins in American numismatics. The story begins in 1909, the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Before this year, the United States featured Lady Liberty on the 1-cent coin. But President Theodore Roosevelt wanted American coinage to become more artistic and to honor important figures from the nation's history. Lincoln became the first real historical person ever placed on a regularly circulating United States coin. That decision changed American coinage forever and created one of the most famous coin series ever produced. The design was created by Victor David Brenner, whose initials, VDB, originally appeared prominently on the reverse of the first 1909 Lincoln cents. After public criticism, the initials were removed from later production that same year. The standard 1909 Philadelphia issue without a mint mark also exists without the VDB initials, making it one of the important early issues that collectors often seek to complete a Lincoln cent collection. On the front of the coin, Abraham Lincoln faces toward the right. His portrait displays remarkable detail for a coin of its time, with carefully engraved hair, a distinguished beard, and a dignified expression that symbolizes honesty, leadership, and perseverance. Around the portrait appears the word Liberty, while the year 1909 is displayed clearly. The national motto, "In God We Trust," arches across the top, creating the classic appearance that has remained familiar to generations of Americans. The reverse features two elegant wheat stalks framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above these words is the motto E pluribus unum. These wheat ears gave the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny, and represented the importance of American agriculture during the early 20th century. One easy way to identify this coin is by checking for the absence of a mint mark below the date. Coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint during this period typically carried no mint mark, while coins from San Francisco displayed an S. This simple difference makes the no mint mark Philadelphia issue instantly recognizable to collectors. The Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 72.7 million 1909 Lincoln cents without a mint mark and without the VDB initials. Although that number may sound very large, more than a century of circulation has significantly reduced the number of attractive surviving examples. Many spent decades passing through cash registers, banks, stores, and pockets before collectors recognized their historical importance. Finding one in fine condition today is becoming more challenging because most surviving examples show heavy wear, scratches, stains, environmental damage, or cleaning. A genuine fine-grade coin still displays clear lettering, visible wheat lines, and an identifiable portrait with moderate wear across the highest points. Collectors appreciate these coins because they represent honest circulation while preserving enough detail to remain visually appealing. Color also plays an important role in determining value. Copper coins are commonly classified as red, red-brown, or brown. Most fine-grade examples have naturally toned to brown over many decades. Collectors generally prefer original surfaces with even color rather than coins that have been harshly cleaned or chemically altered. Original brown examples often command stronger prices than cleaned coins because originality is highly valued in the collecting community. Authentication has become increasingly important because counterfeit Lincoln cents continue to appear in the marketplace. Experienced collectors carefully examine the lettering, date placement, weight, diameter, edge, and metal composition before purchasing expensive examples. Professional grading services provide additional confidence by authenticating and encapsulating genuine coins, helping buyers and sellers agree on condition and authenticity. Although this particular Philadelphia issue is not considered one of the key date Lincoln cents, exceptional examples continue to perform well at auction. A normal circulated specimen may be worth around $560,000 depending on condition and eye appeal. Better preserved fine examples with attractive original surfaces often sell in the $568,000. Extremely well-preserved mint state examples certified by major grading companies can reach several $100s or more, with exceptional high-grade survivors bringing significantly stronger prices because of their rarity and pristine condition. Collectors also examine these coins for interesting mint errors. While there is no recognized large-date variety for the 1909 Lincoln cent, genuine mint errors such as off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, broad strikes, lamination errors, or dramatic die breaks can increase collector interest substantially. The rarity, visibility, and overall eye appeal of the specific error determine how much additional value such a coin may command. The popularity of the Lincoln Wheat series remains one of the biggest reasons these coins continue to attract buyers. Nearly every coin collector eventually builds or considers building a complete Lincoln cent collection. Because the series stretches from 1909 through 1958, early dates like the 1909 Philadelphia issue are essential additions. This constant demand helps maintain a healthy collector market. Another factor supporting demand is the historical significance of the coin. Holding a 1909 Lincoln cent means holding a piece of American history produced during a period of rapid industrial growth, expanding transportation, and significant cultural change. These pennies circulated through 2 world wars, the Great Depression, and countless everyday transactions before finding their way into modern collections. When evaluating one of these coins, experienced collectors use magnification to inspect the surfaces for scratches, corrosion, carbon spots, rim damage, and evidence of cleaning. They also look closely at Lincoln's cheek, jawline, coat, and hair, along with the wheat stalks on the reverse, because these areas reveal the amount of wear the coin has experienced. Many beginning collectors make the mistake of polishing old copper coins in hopes of increasing their value. In reality, cleaning almost always reduces collector demand because it removes the original surface that experts want to see. A naturally aged coin with honest wear is generally much more desirable than a polished example with unnatural shine. As interest in coin collecting continues to grow through online auctions, social media, and educational videos, more people are searching old collections inherited from parents and grandparents. Every year, previously unknown Lincoln cents appear from estate collections, old piggy banks, and forgotten albums, reminding collectors that valuable discoveries can still happen. The next coin takes us into a completely different era of American history, but it is every bit as interesting to collectors. The 1952 D. Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 cent was struck during the final decade of the famous Wheat cent series, a design that had already become one of the most recognized coins in the United States. Millions of Americans carried these pennies every day, often without giving them a second thought. Today, however, collectors carefully inspect every 1952 D cent they find because condition, original surfaces, and genuine mint errors can make a tremendous difference in value. When this coin was released, the United States was experiencing rapid economic growth after World War II. New neighborhoods were being built across the country, families were purchasing automobiles in record numbers, and businesses were expanding. During this exciting period, the Lincoln Wheat cent remained the most common coin in circulation. Children saved them in piggy banks, merchants handed them out as change, and banks distributed thousands of rolls every week. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It became the first regular United States coin to feature the portrait of a real historical figure instead of the traditional image of liberty. The design was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, and his work remains one of the most recognizable coin designs ever produced by the United States Mint. On the front of the 1952 D cent, Abraham Lincoln faces to the right. The word liberty appears to his left, while the date 1952 is positioned to the right beside the small D mint mark. Above Lincoln's portrait is the national motto, "In God We Trust." Every detail of this design is closely examined by collectors because sharp lettering and strong facial features often indicate a higher quality strike. The reverse displays two graceful wheat ears surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above the denomination is the Latin motto, E pluribus unum. This reverse design gave the coin its famous nickname, the wheat penny. Many collectors still consider this reverse more attractive than the Lincoln Memorial design that replaced it in 1959. Unlike the 1900 Indian head cent, the 1952 D penny was produced at the Denver Mint, which identified its coins with the small D mint mark. Denver struck hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents during this period to satisfy the nation's growing demand for circulating coinage. Although the total mintage was very large, truly exceptional examples remain surprisingly difficult to locate because most entered circulation immediately and accumulated years of wear. A circulated and dusty 1952 D wheat cent is a familiar sight. Many examples spent decades in pockets, cash registers, and coin jars before eventually reaching collectors. Dust, dark toning, and minor stains are common on coins that have remained untouched for many years. Experienced collectors understand that these natural signs of age are very different from damage caused by harsh cleaning or chemical treatment. One of the first things collectors inspect is the overall condition of the coin. A well-circulated example usually shows wear across Lincoln's hair, cheek, jawline, and coat. On the reverse, the wheat lines gradually become smooth as circulation increases. Even with noticeable wear, the coin still carries historical importance because it represents everyday commerce in America during the early 1950s. Professional grading plays a major role in determining value. Coins graded, good or very good, generally retain only the basic design. Fine examples show stronger lettering and more visible wheat lines. Extremely fine pieces preserve much of the original detail, while about uncirculated examples display only slight wear on the highest points. Mint state coins, which never entered circulation, remain the most desirable among collectors. An ordinary circulated 1952 D Lincoln wheat cent commonly sells for around $300,000 depending on eye appeal and preservation. Attractive uncirculated examples may bring $350,000, while certified gems with exceptional luster and outstanding strike quality can realize much stronger prices. Rare authenticated mint errors or extraordinary condition rarities have sold for significantly higher amounts whenever serious collectors compete at auction. Collectors also value original color. Copper coins are generally classified as brown, red-brown, or red. Brown examples have naturally toned with age and remain popular because of their originality. Red-brown coins retain portions of their original mint color, while brilliant red examples are the scarcest after more than 70 years. High-grade red examples frequently command the strongest premiums because preserving original copper color for decades is extremely difficult. Error collectors pay especially close attention to Lincoln wheat cents from the early 1950s. Genuine mint errors can include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, retained cuds, broad strikes, lamination errors, struck through grease, and dramatic die breaks. These errors occurred during production at the mint and are completely different from scratches, dents, corrosion, or damage that happened after the coin entered circulation. A struck-through grease error, for example, occurs when grease temporarily fills part of the die, preventing certain details from striking fully onto the coin. This creates missing or weak design elements that can appear unusual. Another collectible variety involves lamination errors, where imperfections in the metal cause small sections of the surface to peel or separate. Because these flaws originated during the manufacturing process, authenticated examples often attract strong collector interest. Collectors should always be cautious when purchasing expensive error coins. Many damaged pennies are mistakenly advertised as rare mint errors on the internet. Bent coins, drilled coins, heavily corroded pieces, or coins altered after leaving the mint usually carry little premium. Professional certification from respected grading services provides confidence that a coin is genuine and accurately described. Eye appeal is another factor that influences auction results. Two coins with the same technical grade may sell for very different prices if one displays richer natural color, fewer distracting marks, or stronger overall luster. Experienced buyers often compete aggressively for coins that simply look more attractive, even when numerical grades are identical. Many collectors enjoy assembling complete Lincoln wheat cent collections by date and mint mark. The 1952 D serves as one of the later issues in the series and fills an important place in these albums. While it is not considered one of the key dates, finding an attractive original example without cleaning or environmental damage can still be rewarding. Interest in wheat cents continues to grow because they connect modern collectors with everyday American history. Every 1952 D cent may have been used to purchase candy, newspapers, gasoline, or groceries during the early 1950s. Each scratch and worn surface tells part of that journey through time. If you discover a dusty 1952 D wheat cent in an old coin jar or inherited collection, resist the temptation to clean it. Cleaning almost always reduces collector value by removing original surfaces that specialists want to see. Instead, examine the date, mint mark, overall condition, and any unusual characteristics under good lighting. If the coin appears especially sharp or shows an unusual striking error, professional evaluation may be worthwhile. The enduring popularity of the Lincoln wheat cent proves that even one of